Hello and welcome to episode 14 of The Long Haul from uShip. Today's episode is all about electronic bill of lading, or eBOL, the new product we launched last week on the uShip platform that digitizes the bill of lading process. First, joining us is Dominique. She is a senior customer success manager on our in-home delivery team. She joins us to talk about the positive impacts this is having for both clients and carriers on the platform. Next up, Dean Jutil and I sit down with carriers Brad and Carolyn of CircleB Shipping, a service provider on our platform. They have been an early adopter of eBOL and have some really great information about how this has positively impacted their business. It was really great to chat with them, and we look forward to bringing this episode and this product to you. Enjoy. All right, joining me now is Dominique. She is our senior account manager on our in-home delivery team. Dominique, how are you doing today?
I am doing good, Joe. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
So before we get started talking about eBOL, I wanted to just kind of give you a chance to talk about what you do here at uShip and how you interact with our customers and carriers every day.
Cool. Yeah. I can talk about that for a little bit. So I have been at uShip for about 2.5 years. I'm, like I said, the senior customer success manager for our in-home delivery program. And so my role here at uShip is to support our higher volume business customers that ship furniture and household items to our platform. So I help ensure that the customers are successfully onboarded and explain how our products work, as well as establish processes for listing and managing those shipments based on their needs. And then, we work together to resolve any exceptions, which would be some of those random situations where maybe, addresses are incorrect and we need to communicate that to the carrier, or, maybe someone's not available, to deliver the item or something like that. So I help with all of those potentially, little tricky situations. But
Mhm.
In terms of interacting with the carriers, my interactions are all, just being super communicative on those shipment situations that may arise from some of those exceptions, and just making sure that everyone has the information that they need in order to get all of their shipments completed.
Sure. Awesome. Yeah, you take on a lot for sure. So when are dealing with clients like Cherish and some of the other accounts that you are running here at uShip, what are some of the main things that they're wanting when it comes to working with uShip and the carriers on our platform?
I'd say one of the biggest things I feel like that these high volume shippers want is just transparent communication. A lot of different people can be involved in the shipping process, and it's really important to just keep all that communication open so that everyone's on the same page and, available to assist if, anything is needed. It's shipping, and there's random things that can happen that are, out of everyone's control, and we as support, we can only help if we know about it.
Mhm.
In the event that like something may happen, being communicative and being reliable and flexible to those situations is going to help resolve those issues more quickly, and that speaks volumes to partners. They are looking to build relationships with carriers that they can both grow together and have a mutually beneficial situation and working relationship.
Mhm.
So, they want carriers that they can work with and who can communicate. And, they also, do have a level of expectation in terms of professionalism. A lot of cases, the carrier is actually the only person that the end customer might see from that purchase with the partner. So a lot of our partners do view carriers as an extension of their company. And so, they, want someone who's going to give their customers a positive experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of moving into the electronic bill of lading, let's kind of talk about the transition from the traditional paper bill of lading to what we're offering with electronic bill of lading. Um, kind of help us understand what that means and why our shipping customers are such a big component of this new technology that we're introducing.
Mhm. Yeah. So, as we all know, the bill of lading is just that documentation for shipping. It's basically just the receipt for the shipment. What uShip created is eBOL. So basically, it puts all of that shipment information that you need, and that needs to be notated at pickup and delivery. So it takes notes of the item's condition, photos, and obtains signatures, and puts it all into a nice, easy to use electronic experience through the mobile app and the website. So it's great because carriers no longer need paper; they just need their phone or an electronic device in order to get that. Um, and typically what we've been seeing is that carriers will use either their own printed BOLs that they have, or they'll go off and they'll print the BOL that we generated on the site,
Hmm.
or they'll potentially pull up the generated BOL like as a PDF, and they'll pull it up like on their phone or their iPad and fill it out that way. But sometimes that can just pose a problem. I mean, not having paper or being on the road and not having paper is a bit of a challenge. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
it seems like there's a lot of drawbacks that carriers run into today with the traditional, method. I mean, there's so many ways it can go wrong, like running out of paper or printer breaking while you're on the road, or having to print three copies of one document is a
mhm.
lot for a carrier to manage all at once.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, especially if you're on the road and you may not necessarily know where you need to go get paper, and I mean, it's not like trucks have printers, and I mean, I don't know a lot of people that have printers anymore, so
Yeah,
getting that paper is not always very easy, and um, and things happen too. Like, so if you do rely on your phone, sometimes phones do really crazy things, and maybe it doesn't load. So also, just having having it
yeah,
through the app is actually just a little bit more reliable.
yeah, and not having to pay for ink. That's another thing that people don't think about.
Oh yeah.
Ink can get expensive. So when it comes to the shipper perspective, or the customer
Mhm.
perspective here, um, what are the advantages to them as using an EBOL as well? Not just the carrier, but the shipping
Mhm.
customer also.
For sure. So in terms of the shipping customer, it actually does give a little bit of transparency um, into more accurate updates and everything. So typically, carriers will have to manually go in and update shipment statuses. Now that's all automatically done. So carriers will be able to see that in a bit more real time, which is
Hmm.
really nice. And they will have, just more accessibility for that information. So they'll be able to go to that shipment, pull up that BOL information, and it helps them resolve things faster on their end.
Hmm.
If there's a question about something post delivery, they'll easily be able to go and pull up that BOL, without having to maybe make contact or reach out, and you can just have that information at your fingertips a lot quicker.
For sure. Yeah, and we'll get into how this protects carriers in a minute. But another thing that is really advantageous for an EBOL for shipping customers' perspective is, in these types of transactions where a customer is buying something online and not able to see it beforehand, this really protects both the client and maybe the seller of the item from any type of damage claim. If it's documented
Mhm.
clearly at pickup, that means it existed, that the item's arriving as is, so it's not been damaged, or that it wasn't misrepresented, on the seller's behalf, when it was purchased by the client, and it can help shield them from any type of claims coming back on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are some circumstances where more complete information would safeguard on the carrier side, someone who's got a small business?
Mhm. I would I would say mostly in damage disputes. I mean, they're infrequent, but things do happen.
Hmm.
And if a claim needs to be filed, you know, and as a carrier, if you know that you didn't create that damage, and you need to provide proof of that, something that documents the item's condition, photos, notes, anything like that. If you don't have that, that could really cause a risk for you.
Hmm.
If they do want to file a claim, and maybe they end up finding out that they need full value for that, if there's no proof, they may come back on you for that.
Hmm.
And so, I'd say that's definitely a situation where having that complete information is going to be super valuable, because it just provides protection. You know,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of times when these types of disputes happen, it's he said, she said, and it's, one person's word versus another's. And typically, it's the customer's always right is the mentality everybody has. And unless you can have, some kind of proof to document that, you were correct, or that you didn't damage something, or whatever, that your word is solid, it's difficult to, for a company to take the side of a carrier, and having a BOL that's filled out definitely, it makes it sort of indisputable. So, what about carriers who have multiple drivers or teams of drivers?
That's definitely not an issue. What's really cool is that carriers can actually just provide a magic single web link to anyone on their team,
Mhm.
as well as their shipping customers. So everyone's in the know. You basically just get that through the website, and anyone can access that. The drivers don't need a uShip account for that. They don't have to download the app, and they also don't need any of your account information. So, like, they don't need to log in or anything. You just give them that link, and they'll be able to access it.
Yeah, that's great. And the final thing I just want to hit on is, we're releasing this product. It's definitely something we want people to use, but is it going to be required for customers as of right now?
No, it's not going to be a requirement. However, with a lot of the things that we said, it's highly encouraged for the carrier's protection.
Mhm.
It is, an industry standard, and just really common sense to have these circumstances documented, and just gives you an extra sense of professionalism. And a paper BOL is fine, but there's no guarantees that it's going to contain necessarily everything to protect you.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of like insurance. You never know if you're going to need it, but when it happens, you'll be glad that you have it, and it could definitely save you, thousands if full demand is, or full value is demanded for the item. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
worth the extra time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it should be noted that bills of lading are required on every shipment, especially in exclusive shipments. Not for every shipment
Mhm.
on the uShip platform, but if you're doing something within in-home delivery, or anything with the exclusive badging, the BOL is already a requirement. So it's
Mhm.
an easy transition to make this on the platform, and knowing that uShip is going to store these for you on our end. It makes accessing them, if there's ever somebody trying to make a claim, or saying that an item wasn't delivered, having the ability to, wherever you are, pull that up and share it is really beneficial, not having to rifle through all your papers and all that. It's also, always have backups. I think it's always smart to have a backup
Yeah.
plan in case, somebody isn't comfortable signing a phone and wants
Mhm.
an actual hard copy, or, any exception case where, you might want to keep a few extra bills of lading, in the cabin of your truck. But
Mhm.
by and large, the goal here is to get everybody to transition to this electronic bill of lading. And, who knows, in the future, it might be something that, does require, certain clients might require it for all their shipments. We don't really know where the product's going to go. So it's a good idea to get used to it now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially for exclusive shipments, I mean, it is an expectation that, BOLs are used. And I mean, and it is for some of the situations that, we explained. I mean, it's going to provide just that level of protection and professionalism, and that documentation. We don't want, carriers to have to take responsibility for something that wasn't their fault. And
Yeah,
so it's just, taking that extra couple minutes, and it's totally worth it.
exactly. Yeah, there's no reason not to protect your business like that. It can
Yeah.
save you so much, and not just in headaches, but in actual, financial impact. Just taking
Mhm.
this simple step.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Dom, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to chat with us about this. We're really excited to get it out there, and we appreciate you sharing your insights.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you so much for having me. I'm super pumped about it as well. I think it's going to be something really good for our program and our marketplace at large. So super pumped.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, joining me now from CircleB Shipping are Brad and Carolyn. Brad and Carolyn, how are you guys doing today?
Hey, good, good,
Good.
good.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for taking time to be with us. Where are you guys today?
We're actually at home.
Oh, good.
Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys you just came off the road, it sounds like.
Yeah. After a 5-day trip. Yep.
Yeah. That's good. So, one of the reasons that Dean and I wanted to have you on was, your story is really interesting. Just kind of, your decision to start your business and how the timing was pretty fortuitous with when you joined uShip. So, just kind of like to start there, if you could kind of share the origin of your business and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, sure. So we both basically the two of us were married with no kids, and we were basically working opposite shifts in jobs that neither one of us really cared that much about. And I had seen some different things with regard to uShip as far as customers and stuff like that. And I thought, this might be an idea of a way for us to kind of explore things and basically try to find a way to work for ourselves. And then things just sort of exploded. I wasn't expecting her to agree to come on the road, and then it kind of all sort of snowballed from there.
That's awesome. And so, I think that you guys sort of started right around the same time as uShip in-home delivery. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, was that definitely seemed like it was something that helped? Who were some of the first customers that you found success working for?
EBTH, everything but the house.
And Cherish.
Cherish
were the first two
that we really started working with, and
both of them were really nice and sweet in the beginning, because like we would try to bid on shipments with like no reviews and no anything, and they decline us obviously, and then what's nice about it, I'd send a message saying, how do I go about earning your business? And then they were really clear with, you need some positive reviews, and then we'll take a chance. And both of them were really neat about that. And once we started working with them, we were able to keep a good relationship with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys are definitely one of their both of their favorite carriers. So it's been great seeing that relationship grow. And that was even before we had networks, which sort of make those shipments not visible to people that don't have reviews. So it's awesome that you guys were able to build that rapport with them.
Yeah,
one question. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
No, I was just going to say that the relationship's just very mutual. It's with EBTH, for example. Both of them actually. It's been 2 years and multiple different people, and they're just all neat people. Whereas with Cherish, it's pretty much always been, I think, Katie, and she's probably one of the most amazing people we have not yet met. So, but it's just they're both really amazing companies. So
awesome.
So this is Dean. One question I had for you is, as you think back to those early days of starting the business and having to gain those reviews, any advice you have for carriers out there who are trying to build up their reviews, or maybe listening to this podcast, and words of wisdom that you might be able to share with them as you went through? Maybe talk about your first shipment, how that worked out, and kind of where that took you as you began to build those reviews and that feedback on uShip.
I think the biggest thing, in all honesty, is a positive, and I would argue somewhat humble approach with it. A lot of times when we would be bidding on shipments, I think in the beginning, we got shipments just because other carriers were, for lack of a better word, kind of rude in the questions and things like that. And so that it just honestly, before we even did anything, we looked better because we were nice and polite, which was a help.
Yeah, when we were bidding on shipments, we would introduce ourselves. We would let them know, our timeline, and ask if, that would work. And they seemed to prefer us to other shippers who were kind of rude, like, you need to increase your price, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we were willing to take it as what it was. And just the definite talking in the questions section.
Yeah. Oh, we always ask questions pretty much always before we would book a shipment, just because it kind of helped them get to know us and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. And definitely the tone you carry yourself with goes a long way for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
Absolutely.
We know it's like something that everybody's trying to rush through and be fast. And honestly, that's why the in-home delivery has worked out for us as well, because it takes so much less time for us to book a shipment. But we found in the beginning that it was just much better to be on the same page with the shipper. That way it just, other problems didn't come up. So it just made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for that. That's good. That's great. Great insights. Thank you.
So you guys were also, and as we've released this eBOL product, the electronic bill of lading, you have been one of the earliest adopters for it, which has been cool to see. So I just kind of wanted to start with your experience using this so far. It's been a few months. I know that with everything that's new, especially in an industry like shipping, where you've got established protocols, there's always a learning curve. But starting out using this, are there some things that you've liked about it, or any areas where it saved you time, things like that?
Love the fact that it makes you take pictures, because sometimes when you get to a place, everybody's trying to rush. And so you don't exactly get the pictures that you need. So the fact that it makes you take pictures at pickup is totally key. I love it, because then I can, pick out certain damages or, scratches, nicks, other things. And so I can document that right away. And the fact that it forces me to do that is awesome.
And it gives you an excuse in front of both the seller and the receiver, like where, hey, this is just part of our procedure. So it doesn't, I don't know,
it doesn't feel like
you don't feel shady or something like that. So it
sure.
kind of takes all that out of the equation.
For sure. I like that. So it just kind of formalizes things you're probably already doing, but now it kind of, you have a way to show that it's, you're being guided by the process.
Exactly.
And I think, and also in all honesty, and I hate to be on the negative side of things, but I think the fact that it forces you on delivery, I think we're all aware that there's sometimes disputes between buyers and sellers and things like that as far as conditions and stuff. And I think it sort of, for lack of a better word, deters somebody that may say be a little bit less than honest about something down the road. They know we took the picture, and they know that it was taken on delivery. So it kind of takes out a gray area there.
We've definitely been in situations where 2 weeks later somebody says, "Oh, this was damaged," but I have a picture of it that says, "No, it wasn't."
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So in your mind, then, is this a movement towards the digital version of this, both photos, notes, and things like that? Is that a better protection for your business in terms of claims down the road, or is that that's kind of what I'm taking from what your point here is?
That's exactly how we feel. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
And it is, it also provides a fairly quick way to access that information too, because I know one of the issues that we have when we were doing things with paper would be, we usually keep, I'd say, about a month's worth of old BOLs with us just in case things come up. But sometimes we're on the road, we don't have the documentation from a shipment several weeks ago. So this would actually be much quicker because you don't have to wait for us to get home to find it, to send it to you, et cetera.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So what advice do you then have for carriers who maybe have been using traditional BOL? And I know you've been in that camp because you've been printing them within your cab and providing them that way, and which has been kind of the standard for many carriers. So as you've been evolving with this technology, what advice do you have for carriers who might be in that, have a foot in that traditional way of doing it, and what encouragement would you have to kind of move the direction of the digital side of things?
I think for us, it's a kind of a matter of, there's a comfort factor with what and what what you do. So a lot of times it's just more a matter of a leap of faith. Like I know for us, a lot of the quote unquote issues that we had with it really kind of weren't there. They were just sort of mental roadblocks on our part of, this isn't how we usually do it. And I think one of the things that everybody can agree on is that the digital age is here, and paper is going by the wayside. And then and also from the standpoint of, I like it so that with uShip, like let's say that there's a dispute. I don't think we've had one since we've been on this, but let's say that there was a dispute, as opposed to it needing to be a huge email chain. Dominique or whoever can just say, "Hey, this came up. I'm looking through the pictures, and I'll get in touch with you if something else is necessary." So that it's already there.
Right.
Totally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I really like just hearing you guys, your adoption of the eBOL, it kind of mirrors your story with joining with a website. It's just, you guys it seems like you're willing to take the leap of faith when it does make sense. And I think that's That's really cool about you guys. I like that.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, we're really grateful for the opportunity. I don't know too many other places where two people that didn't know really much anything about the transportation industry could actually, make something work in as quick a time. So we're very grateful for the platform.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate that. So, have you guys used, the feature where a customer isn't available at pickup or delivery?
Yes.
Yes.
And how did that go for you?
That part works well. My concern with that is more just something down the road, because we just don't have. If we're in that case, like I can't go back and say, well, here's where you signed. You know what I mean? And I think that's where, and may just be an anxiety point on my part, but it's just a matter of, I personally really like having that person signing it, just because I feel like it really takes out a lot of other questions.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that is my one, that's my one caveat to it. And so, in all honesty, we try very hard not to do it,
but we
unless
do
we
take
have
the
to.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
And have you had some customers who, given COVID concerns, have preferred just to have you just tap the button for them, or versus
absolutely.
signing?
Yes, we've had that happen. Yep.
Yeah, we've definitely had that happen, and we've done so because obviously our whole thing with the COVID relationship has just been, trying to manage our comfort level with everybody else's. So if someone wants to be safe, we are all about it and we encourage it.
Yeah.
So we definitely do. It's just like I said, for our sake, not for our sake, but just down the road, I'm just not sure. I could see a situation where that may come up, where customers, well, I didn't sign it; they just pressed that button, and
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, and there's definitely plans to make it so that that process, there's geotagging, and there might even be companies where it's just not allowed. That process. If a company isn't comfortable with it and the carrier's okay with making sure there's a signature, but I am glad that it's addressed, the immediate need during COVID to make sure that all parties are, comfortable with documentation, because with the paper BOL, it's like it's not even an option.
Yeah. It's these times make all of us have to be a little bit adaptable. So
Exactly. Exactly.
Have there been any times that you? Well, let me ask this: are there any tips and tricks that you have that, after using it now for a few months and your learning curve has probably flattened a little bit and you've kind of figured it out in different ways, again, taking that leap of faith, are there any tips or tricks, especially with photo uploading, maybe in an area that doesn't have great reception, or because that certainly is a factor, things like that you to get around areas that, as we're continuing to evolve the product as well, that you would share, that you've kind of figured out along the way?
We have a couple.
Well, we've been in, especially because of this hurricane, several stops. There was no cell reception.
In the state of Connecticut,
we were unable to use the eBOL. So I would take pictures with my phone, and then I would screenshot them and
basically take a picture
of the picture for the eBOL.
Oh, interesting.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that I could upload that. Yeah.
Because kind of, Dean, as we had talked about before, with regard to, like, if there was an offline version, I think it would probably solve most anything, because it just, where basically we could upload the information, even if it was like, say, a worksheet or something. But basically, last Wednesday was ridiculous with regard to the cell phone reception. It was just, the storm knocked out most of the state of Connecticut, and it was just, it was Stone Age. We couldn't even book a hotel room. So, but basically, if we've learned to basically be a little bit adaptable, taking pictures of pictures. The other thing that Carolyn's gotten really good at is, even if it's not necessarily in a bad reception, but she'll upload the pictures or take the pictures, and then you don't have to hit send right away. Like, we'll wait till we get in the truck and kind of complete everything. You can take the notes, but at least while you're in front of it, you're getting the pictures.
Right. Okay. So you, instead of waiting for those to upload in front of the customer and maybe taking some of that time, what I'm hearing you say is kind of get the communication done with the customer, they've seen you take pictures, and then while you're in the cab, then you kind of finalize all the details before you start heading out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to speed up the process. Yeah.
Gotcha. And what percentage of time are you kind of still, and maybe if you're still straddling that digital versus print version, are you kind of still straddling that a little bit, or are you finding yourselves kind of moving more towards eBOL a majority of the time?
Okay, so most of the time it's majority of the eBOL. I would say that we have adapted a little bit of something where we're trying to print one paper copy of a bill of lading per shipment, just in case. So for one example would be, we made a pickup for Cherish about a week or two ago on the eBOL, and we just didn't have anything in paper to give to the gentleman, and that kind of bothered him. And then, so we figured
some customers do prefer like a piece of paper.
Like if you're going, if we're going, for example, the best example would be like Cherish EBTH, where you're buying or selling from like a dealer or from like a store. It's not as big a deal. In fact, most of them kind of prefer the paperless. But then if you're going to pick it up from, say, Mrs. Jones or something, who doesn't know the internet, doesn't trust it, and then we're not giving her anything for taking her property, so that is the one caveat I have. So, like I said, we just kind of have it to be ready in case.
Gotcha.
I like that preparation, but yeah, that is a good reason to still carry paper as a backup, but lean on the electronic version for most of it.
Yeah, like we were always printing out 3 copies. We're not doing that anymore. It's usually just the one, just in case. So yeah, it's definitely saving, and I think it's definitely the right direction. It's a lot of this is just the customers, the end customers standpoint. So
yeah,
yep,
awesome.
Got you. Okay. Well, this has been really great perspective. I really thank you for sharing that all with us.
Oh, our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys using it, and I look forward to it being available for all shipments now. So it's not just a Cherish only thing for you, and look forward to continuing to get your feedback from it, and continue on our end to make improvements so it works for you. But I'm really excited that as it is right now, that you've found it and have found usefulness for it, and that it has has positively impacted y'all's business. That's really great.
Absolutely.
That's
thank you. Yeah, and we appreciate all the effort you guys go through, because we know that that's not a small undertaking.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And if anybody listening wants to find out more about Brad and Carolyn Bogle, check out in CircleB Shipping. Check out our blog. There's a blog post there that talks about their background and how they've been using eBOL as well. So along with listening here, you can take in the written word on the blog as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
No, thank you.
Very much. Have a great day.
All right, that is going to do it for this episode of The Long Haul from uShip. We really appreciate you listening. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, please take a moment to rate and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. We look forward to bringing you another episode soon. Until then, take care.